Good morning. It is Friday that I'm taping this. It's Friday, the 15th of December. We're halfway through the last month of the year. Can you believe it? It is also my niece's birthday and my super great niece's birthday. So I have a niece who's just very close to me in my age. She's already a grandmother, so I am like a great aunt. So I call myself a super great aunt, and she's my super great niece. But they both have birthdays today, so happy birthday to them. But it is Friday for me, Saturday if you watch this on the day it's released. But it is time for my weekly wrap up. And oh man, we are in the busy time of the year, aren't we? I need to get through this weekend. Today is the last day of school for the kids before holiday break. I guess because of the way Christmas falls, so like Christmas Eve's on a Sunday, some states like California, I know, does their Christmas break like a week later. So they go to school all the way up to December 22nd. And then they're out of school until the week after New Year's. We do it the other way. So we have the week before Christmas off. And then the kids go back to school on like the 2nd, I think. I remember one year when we did it the other way and everyone complained about it. So I think that's why, at least our school district, I'm not sure about all the school districts in Oregon, but at least our school district went back to having the week before Christmas off instead of the week after New Year's. But oh well. So it's Friday. On the agenda today is making a lot of cookie dough. 2 cookie events coming up. So tomorrow, which would be tonight if you're watching this the day it drops, Saturday, the Girl Scout troop is coming over for their little holiday get together, and they love to decorate cookies. So I need to make some cookies up for them to decorate. I have 2 like rolled cookie recipes, and I'm going to make the dough for both, but I think I'm only going to bake up the gingerbread for them. I have this gingerbread recipe. So it started out as my mother-in-law's gingerbread recipe, and everyone talked about how wonderful her gingerbread recipe was, gingerbread cookie recipe, but no one was able to replicate it with the recipe that they were given. And my mother-in-law has passed, so we cannot ask her, not that she probably would have helped, but anyway. So I got a hold of this recipe, and I said, I'm going to figure this recipe out. And I went through and I figured out what was missing and what needed to be changed. And now I have a very good gingerbread cookie recipe. And it is now my gingerbread cookie recipe because I'm the one that fixed it. So I think I'm going to make because one thing I did keep with this recipe is that she had doubled it. She didn't note that on her recipe, which was really fun that time I decided to double it. So I actually quadrupled the recipe, and it was like more than my mixer could handle. It was just a mess. It was a mess. But that makes a lot of cookies. So I think I'm going to do that and then just like bake up just enough for them to decorate. And then we'll do the rest later towards Christmas. But then on Sunday, I'm hosting a Christmas cookie exchange at my church. So I have the cookies that I'm going to exchange ready, but I need to bring some other cookies just to snack on. So I have another recipe that I use a lot called sugar and spice cookies that are kind of like a cross between a snickerdoodle and a ginger cookie. So I'm going to make those just to have those out for people to eat. So yeah, it's a big cookie day in my house. I have 10 sticks of butter out on my kitchen table coming to room temperature right now. It's crazy. Anyway, so I need to get through this weekend, and then actually next week is a little bit calmer. So I'll get to sleep in, which is always a good thing. What else? Oh, I have to share this very, very cool story. And it kind of goes into like my currently reading. Well, it's to be read because I haven't started reading it yet, but it's such a cool story I want to share with you all. I've talked before about how my son isn't really a big reader. Like, he's good with audiobooks because he'll sit and listen to audiobooks, or he'll listen to audiobooks while he's drawing or something, but getting him to sit down and read is not, he doesn't like doing that. In his ELA class, he's in 7th grade, they read The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. I've never read this story. I actually just read my first Shirley Jackson. I read We've Always Lived in the Castle, and he loved it. And he said, Mom, have you read this? And he knows I read a lot of short stories. And I said, no, I haven't, but I want to. He's like, okay, I want you to read it so we can discuss it. I'm like, okay. And then I didn't think much about it because I do plan to read it. And he came back a couple of days. He's like, have you read it yet? And I said, well, no, not yet. And he said, well, when are you going to read it? And I said, okay, I'll read it by the end of the year. It's like, good, because I'm going to discuss it with you on January 1st, whether you have read it or not. I'm like, okay, I have to get it now. Of course, there's a huge list on the collections in the library that have it. And I couldn't to buy it. It was like $1.99, or excuse me, $9.99 to get an ebook of it. And I was like, that's a lot. I don't like to read my short story collections in digital form, and just for one story, that's not worth it. But I did go and find a PDF of it online. So I printed that off. I have to read it. And I told him, I said, I have this, I'm going to read it. So I'm hopefully going to read it today. We'll see. And then he's like, he turns to his sister, he's like, you have to read it next, and then Dad, so we can have a discussion. So there you go. I'm turning him into a reader, whether he likes it or not. What else? I will admit, just FYI, I am so behind in comments right now. I'm just kind of, life is very busy, but next week will be calmer, and the week after Christmas will be very calm. So, I will try to catch up with things by then. But today I'm going to try and batch film some videos, because I've got some time to kill before my butter is at room temperature. So let's get started with what I read and what I'm currently reading. So I finished 4 books. I finished 2 books and 2 novellas this week. The first one was The Life and Times of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. I read this through the serial reader, which is the only time the only time I can kind of stand reading on my phone. But anyway, it was a fun, sweet little story. It reminded me much more of Dr. Seuss than The Wizard of Oz, but that was fine. It was just a fun little sweet story. It's definitely one that I might go back to every year. If you haven't read it, it's on serial. It's fun. And then I finished The White Lady by Jacqueline WInspear. Jacqueline WInspear wrote the Maisie Dobbs books, which I have not read, although I have the first one. I thought this was the beginning of a new series, but now I think it might actually just be a standalone. But it's not at all involved. It doesn't involve the Maisie Dobbs series. At least I don't think so. I haven't read it. I didn't notice anyway where I felt it did. The main character is a woman named Eleanor White, or Eleanor DeWitt. She has 2 names. She's like a spy. Or a former spy. We have World War I, we have World War II, we have post-World War II. We have a lot of stuff going on in this book, but it's fun. It is quite an adventure. Eleanor's a really fun character. So I went into it, it's kind of labeled as mystery, and I kind of went into it with the expectation of it being a mystery, because I know Maisie Dobbs is a mystery series. This is much more like a spy thriller kind of book than a mystery. So if you choose to read this book, just go in knowing that it's not going to be a mystery like you expect. I ended up giving that one an A. I really enjoyed it. And then on my Discord, some of us were reading Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk, and I just adored this book. This is such a wonderful book. I can't believe it's been sitting on my shelves for 6 years. Almost 7 years it's been sitting on my shelves, and I just now got to it. It was one of the 10 books that I had to read by December 31st, 2024, or I have to give them away. So one down. This is a wonderful book. You know, I'm glad I read it now. It is great. But I think in the future, I might revisit this book every year after Christmas, before New Year's, because it takes place on New Year's Eve. And it's just a wonderful, like, reflection on this woman's life. And she was a really interesting character. Just a delightful book. I really enjoyed this one. This is an A+ book for me. And then finally, last night I finished The Christmas Guest. It's a novella by Peter Swanson. So, and this morning when I was getting ready, I was listening to some podcasts, and one of the podcasts I listened to is the Audiophile magazine podcast, which is like, it's only like 10 minutes a day, 5 days a week, but they just kind of talk about a different audiobook each day. And today, because I finished The Christmas Guest last night, this morning, they talked about The Christmas Guest, and they talked about, like, you know, it's gotten rave reviews, people really love it. And I was listening to this thinking, I hated that book. I didn't hate it. I very strongly disliked this book. It was a disappointment to me. It was a NetGalley book. So, hey, at least I got one of those off. I have read Peter Swanson in the past and have liked him. So I went in expecting this to be at least on that level, and it wasn't. So I will say the mystery's fine. Nothing to write home about. The first is kind of in 2 parts. And the first part is, the bulk of it is a diary of a 20-year-old American who was in England spending Christmas with a friend of hers at their English estate or English house. She thinks it's an estate, but whatever. And this annoyed me beyond half because there's no way a 20-year-old would have written that. I mean, the voice was completely wrong. It was like the voice of a 10-year-old. And I was like, no 20-year-old would have written like that. It just annoyed the hell out of me. I was like, come on. This is almost insulting to my former 20-year-old self, long past the long ago. But no, this was not a 20-year-old. And it just irritated me beyond belief. The second half, we're out of the diary. It's fine. But the book makes kind of a genre switch in the second half, which I really didn't feel was earned at all and was annoying. So I was basically just annoyed all the time with this book. Now, to put this in perspective, this book has, I think, 104 pages in print. It took me a week to read this book. Now, true, it's what I read going, at night. So sometimes it was just a little bit that I read. But still, it was like I was never drawn back into reading this book at all. I ended up giving it a C. And honestly, that might be a little bit generous on my part. I just, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because I was grumpy. Like maybe I'm just being grumpy and just easily irritated. But man, that book was just infuriatingly. Ugh. So don't recommend that one. Sorry. I'm sorry to end on a downer. On that one, but that is The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. So what I am currently reading, I am still working on my 2 short story collections. So I will talk about those when I finish them, which will be before the end of the year. So besides those, I have 6 books going. In print, I have, this one, The Friend by Sigrid Nunez. I kind of put this to the side for a couple days this week just because I had some other books I had to get to, and this week was really crazy. So I didn't get as far as I wanted to in this, but this is one of these I'm like halfway through and we don't yet have a plot. So I'm assuming one's not going to show up at any point. And I think Sarah at Roadworthy said she read it and didn't think there was really a plot, which is fine. I'm fine with books like that. The reading is, the writing's interesting, and basically what she's writing about is interesting enough. It's at least holding my attention. But I do want to have this, actually would like to finish this weekend because I want to, if any of you are in my postal book group and you haven't gotten this book yet, sorry, you're going to get this book at some point. Sorry. I want to send it out along with Yola Boca Flood for what gift exchange I'm in. I want to send those out on Monday. So I want to finish this by then. And then as part of, this is serving 2 purposes. One is, it is my Remember December book to reread and see if you still feel the same way about. And it is my library book club's January book. I am rereading The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson. I gave this book 5 stars when I read it last year. Given how far I am and how many tabs I have so far, pretty sure, this is all I've read right here. Look at how many tabs I have. Pretty sure this is going to hold on to its 5-star status because I'm finding so much more. I'm doing this very slowly. I plan to read a bit a day and finish it at the end of the month. And that's purposeful because I'm trying to do a really deep read of it. And I'm enjoying it more doing that. This is more layered than I remember it being layered. So yay for rereading. Now, I have 2 ebooks going. The first is The Berry Pickers by Amanda Peters. So, like a few days ago, actually, I went into my Libby account deciding that I was going to pause all of my holds until the new year, just so I could, just so I wouldn't have to worry until the new year. But then I went in to do that and this hold had come in. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just go ahead and read this one. It doesn't look very long. So I started it yesterday. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I am a little wary that I might be going in with too high expectations because I've heard some fantastic reviews about this. So I'm expecting it to be really good, and maybe my expectations are too high. I don't know. We'll see. No, I'm 14% into it, so I can't really talk about what I think of it too much other than I'm enjoying the reading. My only thought so far was I had kind of gone into it believing it was a mystery. And I don't see a mystery there because the thing that would have been a mystery, you kind of know what happened right away. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this wasn't supposed to be a mystery, but that's what I'm reading now. And then I am still doing my month-long read of Villette by Charlotte Brontë. I'm a couple days behind, so I need to spend some time on that one this weekend to catch up a bit. I'm going to put a spoiler thing down here. Spoilers for Villette, if anyone cares, because I got to talk about this book. This book is weird. I talked about last week, I talked about the weird creepy child. Like that was there. Creepy child hasn't returned, but creepy child has to return at some point. It hasn't returned yet. So we had Lucy Snow is the heroine, and we had her big, I don't know, breakdown moment, which tends to happen, I guess. And she collapsed. So first she like went to a Catholic church. Charlotte Brontë did not like Catholics. So that's a thing. But she goes to a Catholic church, and then she like collapses, and the doctor brings her home. Now this is like really weird. So, and then you get the revelation that, remember when I was talking about the creepy kid at the beginning, I said the creepy kid had kind of a crush on the older cousin or the older brother or the older son of the woman who's taking care of him. Turns out that the doctor is this guy. Lucy knew it the whole time, never mentioned it, because this character's been in the book for a long time, and never mentioned it. And even weirder, her godmother and her god brother, I guess, never recognized her. Now, they last saw her when she was 14, and she's now 26, I think. So true, that's 12 years, but it's not like they saw her as an infant and now she's 12 years old, and you might not connect that. But I think if you saw someone when they were 14 and saw them when they were 26, you would probably be able to recognize them. I'm like, come on, Charlotte, we're not that stupid. Charlotte, what are you doing? Then, well, kind of actually before then, but there is this part, like I was seeing red. She's working at the school, and she gets left behind. Everyone goes on vacation except her. Well, everyone's on vacation is when she has her little collapse and ends up with the doctor, who's actually her long lost godbrother, and her godmother's there. And it's weird. But before that, she's like left alone in the school with like one student who she calls the cretin, who's very clearly a disabled person. And what Charlotte Brontë says about this character is so outright offensive. I was like, oh. Like, this book would not get published today with what she says about this character. It's not even really a character, because you don't get to know this person. She just talks about how horrible she is. I was shocked. Do not remember, again, don't remember this at all. I know I read this in college. Don't remember this. I was completely shocked. So, Villette, we're going to see where Villette goes, because this is like, what is happening here? Not going to say I recommend it at this point, but wow. If any of you have read Villette, remember these parts, what did you think about that when you got to it? Because wow, that was weird. Okay, end of spoilers for Villette if anyone turned off, because maybe I'll put a timestamp down or something. I don't know. I don't know if anyone cares. It's Villette. It's like a 100-plus-year-old book, and it's not even the one the author's known for. So there you go. That was Villette. On audio, still listening to The Mysterious Affair at Styles. Now, interestingly, yesterday I was watching Angelia's video about like the mystery she read this year, and she read this year. I read it last year. And I remember she brought up the point that there's some racist and anti-Semitic language in this book. I do remember that from reading it. But honestly, it kind of blurs all together, because there's a lot of that in the early Agatha Christie books. And it is nothing compared to either the Peril at End House or Lord Edward Dies. One of them was so bad I could barely read it. So like all the other ones kind of pale in comparison to that one, but whatever. I do remember that being there. I am not hearing it in this audio. Now I may not remember where it was, and I haven't gotten to that part yet, but I'm thinking this might be one of the edited versions where they kind of cleaned up the language, which is interesting. I have like talked about this before. Like I'm really torn on this, because like I think, no, we should keep the authorial integrity, but also that one I think it was Lord Edward Dies, so bad. I was like, man, oh, the language is so bad. Plus with Agatha Christie, she evolved as a writer, realized what she was saying was wrong, changed some of her own writing, gave okays for some of her stuff to be changed. So I think like there's kind of a permission to do that with Agatha Christie, which you don't see in like cases like Roald Dahl, which they did a bad job with anyway. So I don't know. But I think the audio version, the one that Hugh Fraser does, might be the cleaned up version. But it also might be, I might not have gotten to the parts yet where they're talking about that. And I haven't heard it, so we'll see. Anyway, it's a really fun audiobook. I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying the narration. And it's so nice, like when he talks, because the book is told through Hastings' viewpoint, and Hugh Fraser played Hastings in the Poirot series. So it is Hastings to me, even though I'm on record of saying I don't like Hastings. It's just because I think he's an idiot. But it all works together really well. And he kind of plays up the sort of idiot part of it, which I appreciate. But anyway, I am enjoying it. So it's probably going to be the last audiobook I do this year, just because I like to start each year completely with a clean slate. So I don't want to start an audiobook after this and not finish it in time. So I think that once I finish this audiobook, I'm just going to concentrate trying to get caught up with my podcasts. Not like that will happen because I'm way behind, but whatever. Okay, that's my week. Let me know what's going on in your neck of the woods. Let me know, what is your favorite Christmas cookie variety? What's you like? You know, what kind of Christmas cookies do you like? I'm just interested. Let me know. Mine is, before I go, I found this recipe, and I think I threw away, no, it's over there. I can't reach it. Anyway, it's from last year's Food Network magazine, and it's cookie butter chocolate chip cookies. I think I talked about this last week because cookie butter was an issue with me. It's good. That stuff that's good. I made more of that. That's what I'm doing for the Christmas exchange. So anyway, I'm babbling now, so we're going to just cut it off. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. Let me know your favorite Christmas cookie. Feel free to join my Discord. Information's down below. We do chats. We did this buddy read. We'll probably do more buddy reads. We're doing a year-long read of Les Miserables in 2024, and I'm starting the Bard Room, which this week's video, you found out what my first Shakespeare play of the Bard Room project is going to be. All that's in my Discord, so feel free to join. That's down below. And I am going to go now before I start babbling even more. Have a great day. See you next time.